Hello guys and welcome to Aslan Live. In today's episode we're going to talk about the game against Fenerbahce, which is in 3 days on Monday. The referee they choose, punishment, everything, and yeah, we're going to talk about everything. So this game reminds me a bit of the game we were in the last season when we were going to play against Fenerbahce away in the cup. I had a bit of the same feeling when we were going to play against them at home, the game which ended 0-0. But at home you always have hope and you always feel like you're the favorite. But in this game I have the same feeling that we had against Fenerbahce away in the cup when we dominated the game from start to finish. Played a very good game. I didn't expect that. Watched the game with low expectations, was sad that day, and that feeling is a bit same this before this game. But I always have hopes when this comes to Galatasaray. The thing about before that game, it was Mourinho. Now they got Tedesco, they got the new Başkan. I'm not saying that Fenerbahce is the best team in the world, but Tedesco has done something right and their new board. First of all, I never understood when Mourinho chose to play with, for example, Fred. He barely couldn't stand on his feet, yet he played time after time, was so weak. But Tedesco straight away took him out, put Ismail Yüksek in, and he has done great. Their board also, took out poison like İrfan Can Kahveci, Cenk Tosun, Mert Hakan. They have given him a new role, even though he tried in the beginning, to be that king in the team, but now he's more silent and everything. They are on the right way, because there was so much wrong with them. So it's impossible to not be on a correct way, if we will call it that. But it's not that they are unbeatable either. Fenerbahce is a team that we can beat. For example, their game yesterday in the Europe League, they rotated a lot like we needed to do because of the injuries and suspension. But like, for example, against Beşiktaş away, they struggled a lot before Beşiktaş got red card. They were 2-0 down. Against Çaykur Rizespor away, they were 2-0 down. So it's not like the most solid team, but they get results. So they come in with confidence, while we have so many injuries, various results, losing against Kocaelispor in the Champions League, and draw against Trabzonspor and Beşiktaş. So we have lost a lot of points lately, unfortunately. So it's going to be a tough game because they got their fans, they got hope again, and our confidence is not the best right now, and it really depends on the injury situation. I will come back to that when I'm trying to predict 11 or something. But Fenerbahce has some good players in Asensio and Semedo. Two, I think, are good players. They also have, Skriniar. I don't want to talk too much about him, but I think he's a good player in the Super League, but he's, in my eyes, is a bit of a cheater, to be honest. He always lays down And the referees, especially in the Super League, are always giving him free kick, even if it's nothing, like 8 out of 10 times. He's just going down on the grass, laying down, expecting free kicks, and they're giving it. They're giving it to him. If a referee has some balls and let the game continue when he's laying down all the time, he will stop to do that. But when he knows that it's working, he does it all the time, destroying attacks where he's making free kicks. He gets the free kicks. It's just unbelievable. But if Osimhen is going to start, I truly believe that he can dominate him. Both Skriniar and Osterwolde are weak with the ball on their feet, so to let them get the ball, Ederson is a player who loves to play out. If you can let him be under pressure, he will try to play out. I'm not sure if Fenerbahce's plan is to play the long balls, but if you are pressed and he tries to play out, we can punish them there, especially with Torreira and if Lemina is going to play, because Ismail Yüksek and Alvarez are not the greatest with the ball on their feet. Also, Kerem Aktürkoğlu is another player who is not good with the ball on his feet. If we're always letting him get the ball on his feet, not letting him turn, he can also turn as long as you don't let him get in our 16 and not behind our defense. I think we can have control on him. And in the 11 I have put up some various 11s, but the 11 I hope for in some senses, I have put Arda Ünyay as a right back there because I think he can have control on Kerem Aktürkoğlu. But we also come back to that. So yeah, they got Nene, they got some good players. With Asensio, for example, you need to be careful that he doesn't get his face towards our goal, because he can create. He's a creative player. He has a good shot. He can have those key passes. He's a very dangerous player. And from what I heard, I think they're going to play with John Duran instead of En-Nesyri. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what I heard, at least from, I think it was from the Fener Murat Aşık on YouTube, and he has a good insight on Fenerbahce. So it's going to be a very difficult game. I hope, I don't have the biggest expectations, because even if Lemina and Osimhen are ready, what are their form, for example? It will be very difficult to predict that. But let's look a bit at this is, I put up many 11s, or 4 11s. This is one of them. If Osimhen and Lemina is ready, I have put Arda Ünyay as a right back. People will tell me, he got red card against Union. How can you put him as a right back in this crucial game? If he doesn't play in this game, with Salah out, with Singo out, with Jakobs out, why is he even in the squad? People can say, yeah, but Kaan and Berkan is also in the squad, but Arda Ünyay is a very promising player. And if he just learns to be a bit more calm in the situations, in certain situations, he has a great potential. But is this the game to put him there? I'm not sure of that either, of course. But this is the 11 maybe I'm naive, but this is the 11 I would have liked to see, to be honest. And Arda Unyay, probably he will do mistakes, but he also does so much great things. And I think this can be a breakthrough game for him if he plays against Kerem Aktürkoğlu. I truly believe it, that he can have full control over him. Another 11 I've seen many posted is this, with Gabriel Sara as a right winger and Barış Alper as a right back. To be honest, I hope we have Barış Alper up on the field, to be honest, to attack there. As a right back, I don't know. This can work on paper, you know, where Gabriel Sara is going inside while Barış Alper is almost like a wing back. But Barış Alper has so many flaws when it's come to the understanding of the defending, positioning. I would not trust him there, actually. So, and Gabriel Sara also, we have seen in the games he has played as a right winger. I think it was last season. He played terrible, to be honest. But then maybe it was because, I don't remember exact that game, if it was that Khan played as a right back, he didn't get those overlaps. In a good structure, of course, Gabriel Sara can work as a winger. Because Gabriel Sara for me is very disappointing, to be honest. I know that he played okay in the last game. He played much better than İlkay Gündoğan. İlkay was so weak against Union. But the things are that İlkay Gündoğan was weak, but he tried to do those correct things. He got the ball in the 16, tried to pass the ball, was too late to react and so on. But with Gabriel Sara, sometimes I want to rip my hair off. He doesn't turn when he's supposed to turn. A good midfielder, central midfielder, knows where the players behind him are, where the spaces are, and so on. But I lack that from Gabriel Sara lately, unfortunately. Gabriel Sara played fantastic in the cup game against Fenerbahce away last season. As a number 10, if we got space, I think he can play there, to be honest. As offensive midfielder, when he gets space to run in, he's actually very good. He got these smart movements, especially if it's space, if they are going in a low block, as for example when we faced Ajax, also Union in the first half. Gabriel Sara is struggling a lot to find spaces as a number 10 when they are when the teams you are facing are compact. So because he's always following where the ball is, when he's playing as a number 10, if the right backs get the ball, he sprints to the right side or in the right pocket, half space. If the left back gets the ball, he's always on the left side, on the half space there, or if Abdülkerim, you know, he's always following the ball. As a number 10, you need to be one of the smartest players there on the field without the ball. And when you're getting so eager to get the ball all the time, if you're getting the ball, you're surrounded by players from the opponent team, and you will struggle to turn your body towards the opponent's goal, which I think as a number 10 is probably like the most important thing you are doing, or creating 2 versus 1 with the wingers like Mertens did so often. Even Jonas Akken is struggling as a number 10 in the positioning sake. He's struggling to get spaces there. It's much more easier as a winger to go inside and find the final and come into the final third and get your body towards the opponent's goal. So maybe it can work as a winger. But again, if they are making space and they're trying to stay high, for example, Gabriel Sara can also do a very good job as an attacking midfielder. if that's the case, like it was against Fenerbahce away in the cup game. Then Gabriel Sara played fantastic. You guys remember his the fake thing he did with his body against Amrabat. His run there, for example, it was incredible. He's taking those deep runs, and I think he played a good second half against Union, much better than his first half. And I think mainly reason of that is because he was lower on the field in the second half. So against compact teams, we need to get rid of that thought that Gabriel Sara can be a number 10. I don't think he is able to do that, to be honest. Against, maybe I'm wrong, you know, but he's not good in the tight spaces. He struggles with his movements against low blocks. He runs a lot, but he is not patient enough. Sometimes you need to be forgotten when you're playing a number 10, and then get, you know, take those explosive movements, so you suddenly are creating 2 versus 1 with the center back and so on. Gabriel Sara is not that player. He has much more confidence lower on the field, and like a deep playmaker. So, and you know, Gabriel Sara, I don't want to shit too much on him. You know, in the game against Union, his shot here, which hit the post, fantastic shot. I'm just trying to ask if this is our most creative midfielder, maybe with Ilkay Gundogan, you know. I really expect, I know it's wrong to say now because he hit the post, and you know, people will probably say, then why do you say this now? I said this after the game also. Here he can play, for example, Barış Alper through. To shoot from here or to play Barış Alper through, it's much higher probability for Barış Alper to score here than it is for Gabriel Sara. And to have a midfielder who is maybe our most creative midfielder doesn't see this is for me so, yeah, I don't know. Because if Lemina had not seen Barış Alper here, okay, maybe that's, I can understand. But when it's Gabriel Sara and he's got it on his left foot as well, maybe he saw it but he just wanted to shoot, I don't know. But anyway, in overall, I'm a bit disappointed with Gabriel Sara, to be honest. I also see some 11s with you know, the 3-4-1-2, for example. I'm really unsure about Lemina as a center back. We really need him on the midfield against Alvarez and Ismail Yüksek, I think. I think that will be extremely crucial. Of course, if he's playing as a center back here and going up on the field when he needs to, you know, sometimes going from 5 in the back to 4, like he's always supporting the midfielders and the defenders. But I'm not sure if Okan Hoca will do something like that. You never know with Okan Hoca, especially at Kadıköy. He always does something surprisingly. So, but here, you know, Barış Alper can play as a wing back, Kazımcan. I'm not sure about Leroy Sané as a number 10 either. I never liked Leroy Sané as a number 10. A bit as the same reasons, like, you know, the smartness without the ball and so on. And people are saying, yeah, but Leroy Sané played as a number 10 for Germany. I watched that game. It was Germany played like 3-4-2-1. And Leroy Sané was one of the attacking midfielders. But he went so much more wider. He almost never got the ball in the half space behind, you know, between the defense and the midfielders. He always went wide, and there's much more confidence there. So, but maybe it can work this also. I don't know. This is not my preferred 11. But here also, then you have like Ilkay Gündoğan, lower on the field, can control the game more. It's also important in the derbies to have players who are not afraid to take responsibility and take care of the ball and play out the pressure. Probably for Fenerbahce, they are having high expectations for Asensio doing that. For us, it can be Ilkay Gündoğan. But we have the worst case scenario as well. If both Lemina and Osimhen is not ready, then I'm not sure who is left then, but then it's going to be something like this, I think. And that would, then I'm not having any hopes whatsoever, because Lemina is so important in the midfield. Osimhen, we have not won a game without him in the Champions League. He is, he has saved us so many times. Against Bodø/Glimt, for example. He alone won the ball in the high press against 4 players. Also against Liverpool. How many times he won it against Konate, Van Dijk, Gravenberg alone. He's an extreme player. This season, our high pressure has not been the greatest. But that's also because of the profiles we have right now. Ilkay Gündoğan is not a player who is the best in the high pressure. Leroy Sané is not a player who is the best in the high pressure. Not Gabriel Sara either. Icardi this season, no. That was the case against Union as well, because when you have Icardi, Gabriel Sara, Ilkay Gündoğan, Leroy Sané, even Salah as a right back in the high pressure. Salah is good in the high pressure, but not, I don't think, the best as a right back, because they're playing much behind you. You need to be extremely physical as a fullback when you're staying high. He's physical, but he's not extremely physical. So we did not have a team that is much of our identity, in Okan Hoja's style, to stay high on the field, to press man. We don't have that material right now. So, but if we are going to play like this, if both Osimhen and Lemina is injured, I just hope they are going to start, because this is so crucial game. And after this game, it's straight to Samsunspor home on Friday, I think, 4 days after. So it's very tough. And then it's Monaco away, extremely important game. So you can't risk a player either. That's why I'm not sure. And if Lemina and Osimhen is going to start, how is their form? Are they 100% fit? If they are 70% fit, that will hurt them a lot, to not take those necessary sprints, to think about all the time when you need to do X or Y. So yeah, it's just a sad situation, to be honest. And Jakobs as well. It's incredible how injury prone Jakobs is. And I think, for me, the only thing with Jakobs to survive, I think, is to have a player like Eren who is available to let him rest when he can. For example, when Eren is playing the league games, Jakobs are playing the Champions League games, gets subbed out. Okan Hoca is not afraid to sub Jakobs out after 60 minutes, to rest him, to not risk anything, because he got a player like Eren Elmalu in backup. But when you don't have Eren Elmalu and Kazımcan is not registered for the Champions League either, it's very tough, So for Jakobs to play 2 games in the week, for example, his body can't do it. And for me, I'm so tired of not having him available. It's beginning to be the same with Singo as well. It's very frustrating. So yeah, that was some of the 11s, I just try to figure out something. Maybe Yunus Akgün is going to be ready. Yunus Akgün is so important for this team because we don't have a player like Yunus Akgün. Good in the tight spaces, can create something from nothing. We really don't have a player like Yunus Akgün. Yunus Akgün, Lemina, and Osimhen, I think, are the most important players in our team in terms of the roles they have, because we don't have players like them, who is not even close to be a player like they are. So, but again, we can't risk everything for this game either. Of course, we need to do everything we can to win this game. I'm not saying that, but should we let, for example, Osimhen play and then be injured for 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Or should we let him rest and then be 100% in the next games? Again, it's about 3 points. Of course, it's about confidence, and it can define the whole season. If we are winning here, it will be huge 3 points. So yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to be. But yeah, that was some of the 11s. And we can also question the squad depth and so on. I'm tired of saying it like players like Berkan Kutlu, Kaan Ayhan. I don't even count them as injured because Okan Hoca doesn't play them against Karagümrük. Why should we think that he would let them play in these games? Of course, now if Kaan had been ready, he had probably played as a right back, but yeah, I'm so against it. Before the season, we talked about it. Kaan Ayhan, Berkan Kutlu, they are finished in some sense in this team because you can't trust them anymore. Especially, okay, maybe Kaan Ayhan is good in the group and everything, but you can't have both, and both of them are foreigners in the Champions League. And you know, Kaan Ayhan is injury prone. He is so slow. You know, he said before the season that yeah, I'm 100% ready now. But in the games I saw, he was so slow. So you can't say like yeah, but when Kaan Ayhan is coming back from the surgery or whatever it was, he will be fit again. No, he's 31 years old now. He's not old, but he is so slow. I don't think he's good enough for Galatasaray anymore, because Kaan Ayhan, when he played against Manchester United, and Kaan Ayhan right now is nothing to compare. Because yes, he's always been slow, but now it's to an extreme part, if you ask me. But yeah, and Ahmed Kutucu. But Ahmed Kutucu was like, okay, he just came in the winter, maybe we can try him. But you know, it's so many on the bench that you can't even count in the rotation. And then you have players from Africa, of course, physical players. It's not only the fields in Africa, it's the hotels they are on and so on. You take that risk. So would I have changed something, you know, with Osimhen, Singo, Jakobs? Probably not, because they are very good players for us. But then the squad need to be styled for that. You can't be surprised when Singo is getting injured. Yes, Salah can survive as a right back, but he's not a right back either. So yeah, but let's talk about the referee they sent, Yasin Kol, the TFFF. Am I surprised? Of course I'm not surprised. This TFFF is in my eyes, in my life, the worst I have seen in terms of how he is speaking, how high he is on himself. This is, you know, it feels like Turkish football has gone back for 10, 15, 20 years with the TFF president like him. And if we don't have a better referee than Yasin Kol, then good luck with the league. Yasin Kol, as we remember against Besiktas, for example, we were attacking. He blew the whistle, the same as Arda Kardesler did with Trabzonspor, and he got fired or whatever. We haven't seen Arda Kardesler after that game, but Yasin Kol is getting derbies after derbies. It is something that's not correct here, if you ask me. It's some lobbyism, 100% with the president and others there. Yasin Kol, his face, not his face, but like his body language, how he is communicating with the players. For me, Yasin Kol is he's not good enough whatsoever, and he loves to send out our our players. Like for example, in the Besiktas derbies, both of the times we got red cards. Yes, the Sanchez was a red card, maybe not Frankowski's, I don't know. Maybe it was, but anyway, to have a referee who can't even talk English, from what I heard, it's incredible, especially in a derby when it's like almost everybody of the 22 players are foreigners. So for me, it's just incredible to have a referee like Yasin Kol. I don't think he's anywhere near good enough as a referee, to be honest. And then is appointed here. I'm not sure who's the VAR referee. Maybe that has come out as well. Probably some incredible appointment there as well. So, but yeah, again, I'm not defending Yasin Kol either whatsoever. I think he's a very weak referee. But how are you supposed to judge or be a referee in this country when you have this TFF Başkan who is firing them, who is almost, talking so bad in front of the media and trying to save his ass all the time and putting their heads on the bench? It's under circumstances that you can't survive. But again, it's, Yasin Kol is probably enjoying it because he gets every games, and for me are one of the worst referees in the Super League. So we will see some very strange things in this game also. Talking about the TFF, here you see two different pictures, two different jerseys. One of the players is getting banned or suspended for a game, another doesn't. Which I think is much clearer picture on Ederson contra Icardi. You are suspended, that's what I dislike so much about this TFF and so on. It is no standards. It's like giving him this and giving him that, and if you're doing the same thing, you're getting two different punishments. For example, this is the referees again. Salah's red card. Asensio is doing the same thing and is getting nothing. It is no standards whatsoever, and you're giving Salah 2 games. Maybe that's like when you're getting a directly red card. Maybe that's in the rules, I don't know. But in one situation, you're not even giving a card. You're not even giving a free kick. And on the other hand, you are giving him 2 games of the ban. And it's not only that. It's everything, like the betting thing, Eren Elmalı, he played on a coupon for, 4 years ago and 8 months or something. when he played in the lower divisions, probably in a league far, far, far from Turkey, and you're banning him. And Galatasaray, who is playing in the Europe, trying to trying to have an honor on the Turkish teams, he is getting banned in the Champions League as well. It's, for me, it's so incredible. And we have Eren Elmalı would have been so important in this game against Union. And when they are naming out players and referees that was not, it's their names was wrong, or they got hacked or whatever, I would sue them so hard to put out those details when you're not even 100% sure. For me, that's the summary of the whole TFFF. I can't understand how this TFFF is still in the charge, because they are, again, for me, the worst TFFF I ever seen, at least. You have a president there who is threatening our Başkan, and it's just, I dislike them so much. But this, for me, is so clear. One, you're giving the ban, the other you are not. For me, that's just incredible. Again, people are saying like, yeah, but Ederson does this all the time. Okay, but why did you ban Icardi then? Maybe he does it all the time as well. But when it's Galatasaray, you love to do it. You love to give those bans. You love to give those bans on the stadium. It's so easy for you to do it. Again, the standards against us, it's just, for me, it's not acceptable. And our board needs to take it more seriously, not only when you're losing games or whatsoever. When things are wrong, they are wrong. If you are winning or not, they are wrong. And I'm so tired of, this everything against us thing. And it's also dangerous to be in that defensive mindset also. I can understand that they don't want to take everything and to blame everything, because they want to focus. But yeah, it's going to be a very difficult game. And with Ederson, okay, don't ban him. I just want the standards, and I don't want like banning one and don't banning the other. That's where I'm getting pissed off. But again, let him play, because I think we can create much from letting Ederson play. He can be dangerous. I'm more afraid of Ederson playing behind our defense, his accurate passes there, his long passes, rather than playing out. Let them play out, because if Lemina is ready and Torreira there, if we can trap them there and have a pressure have pressure on Ederson with Osimhen, we can punish them there and score goals and create chances and get free kicks and get set pieces. So yeah, I can't wait for the game. It's in 3 days, and it's going to be a very difficult game. I just hope this are not our Yedek like it was against Union, because that was so painful, man. It was so sad to watch this. Subs, nothing against these players. They can probably be fantastic in the future, but you need a strong, just to have Osimhen on the bench, Lemina on the bench, even if they're not 100%. Maybe you can't put them in either. But at least just showing that you have them there can be important. Let me see if it's something news that's come out, if it's something about Osimhen and Lemina, because I don't think Jakobs he's out of the game. Singo is probably, yes, he's also out. And I'm a bit unsure on Yunus Akgün as well. I think Okan Hoca said it after on the press conference against the Union that he was really hoping for Yunus, Osimhen and Lemina to be available for the Fenerbahce game. So, because to have this 11 would have been so dangerous, to be honest. So yeah, we need to keep our heads up. Yes, it has been some extremely difficult weeks, to be honest. Hello, Torai. Do you think we are screwed? To be honest, I'm not sure if we're screwed, but it really depends on who is going to start. If both Lemina and Osimhen are not available, look at this 11, then I probably have no hope, you know. Because Icardi is not in form, and we really need this season we have been relied so much on Osimhen's extreme factor. Let me see. Yeah, against St. Gilloise, we were not good, and the thing there is that we had a pretty okay 11. For me, that the sad thing was that we should have gone for a draw there, but I think their mindset was so, you know, just try to survive that 11 minutes. Let me see. We don't have the right back situation, you know. Salah is suspended, Singo is injured. On the left back, yes, Jakobs is that bad when it comes to injuries. He's injured again, and it doesn't look like he's going to reach this game, from what I heard. So I don't hope this is the 11. My preferred 11 is this, as I said earlier in the video. I truly have hopes in Arda Güler. Yes, he got the red card, but again, he has some. If he doesn't play in this game, why did we have him in the squad? Why didn't we loan him out? I have hopes for the top 24, to be honest, in the Champions League. I have hopes for it. I think it's going to be very difficult right now because the Union game was extremely important. But it also depends on who is going to be available and not. Are Osimhen going to be available? Are Lemina going to be available? Are Jakobs going to be available against and Singo against Monaco? And Yunus Akgün, of course, probably our most important players in my eyes. Yunus Akgün is so important. If we have our full squad against Monaco, for example, I think we can get a point there, or maybe even 3. But Monaco away is not an easy game, of course. But with our quality, if the correct players and our players are fit, everything is possible with this team. But again, if we are... Did you watch the Union game, Toray? İlkay Gündoğan was so bad because he's not in form. He get rushed to play. And that's the sad thing. I don't want us to... Yes, the Fenerbahce game is so important. But we can't risk, you know, Yunus Akgün, Osimhen, Lemina. What do you think about the game? Yeah, you said we were bad. You know, I can accept a bad performance with the squad we had. Did you see the bench we had? It was incredible. I think I showed you. When you have this bench, who are you going to put in? It's like he only could put in Arda Unyade. Maybe he should have subbed in Ahmet Kutucu or one young player in the last minutes. But I think, like, you know, the management are seeing these players every day. So they are probably pretty sure. Yes, maybe they could have putting on one striker, Chare Balta, and maybe he would have scored. But it's something like, yeah, we struggle a lot with our 11, and then putting one of those youngsters, I'm not sure how correct that is either. But yeah, the Union game, I was so disappointed, man. We played extremely bad. We didn't create almost anything. I also said this, with the 11 we had against Union, our identity of the team Okan Hoca has created, and the culture and identity and the playing style we have had in the last 3 or 4 seasons with Okan Hoca is totally gone when you have, our identity is high pressure, intensity in the pressure and so on. But when you have Icardi, Ilkay Gundogan, Gabriel Sara, even Leroy Sané, those 4 players, to try to stay with them in high pressure, they are not those types. So then you are like, before, if you have one player who doesn't suit high pressure, intensity and so on, then he can survive by his surroundings of the 10 others. But when the majority or the half of the team are not suiting your playing style, then it's like, good luck. But yeah, all the injuries came on the same time. For me, that's incredible. But is it something with how, is it how we train? Or is it because they are going to Africa? Or is it because we are buying those physical beast players who are more injury prone than players who are not so physical, The more explosive your body is, the more risk of it is to get injuries. I'm not saying every player who is physical is getting injured all the time, because that's not the case. But when you are putting on the, other things like going to Africa, long flights, the hotels they are on, the fields they are playing on, the injuries are very dangerous to come, So, but if you have our 11, I think we can beat Monaco. What do you think about this 11? I've seen many has put out this 11 that Gabriel Sara should play as a winger and Barış Alper as a right back. I'm a bit against this because I saw like this, people are putting this on Reddit and Twitter and so on. Yes, it can work on the paper, that Gabriel Sara is going inside, Barış Alper is going on overlap. But we have it was one game last season where Gabriel Sara played as a winger. He struggled a lot. So Osimhen does not get ready for the game. Is it like 100% sure, or? Because that's the thing, even as you are saying, if Osimhen and Lemina are getting ready, how are their form? How are they risk of being injured if they're playing? Are they playing with, you know, putting things, you know, like, what do you call it? Like injection and so on. Then they probably should not play. Yeah, but I think it's closer to. I think you are closer that he's not ready than that he is ready. Has he? I don't think he has even trained. If I'm not, if he training for himself, I think he's not. Let me see. I'm trying to look like live right now on the Twitter and so on if it's some news, but it's not. Yeah, Lemina is extremely important. He is one of our most important players with Osimhen and Yunus for me. This is another 11 people has put. Yeah, but here is Osimhen as well. I saw also some put this on, but I prefer Lemina as a central midfielder, especially in this game against Ismail Yuksek and Alvarez. He will be extremely important there. Yes, Ismail Yuksek and Alvarez are two good midfielders, but I think Torreira and Lemina are on another level, to be honest. I don't want to jinx it, but for me they are better than them. So I would be happy with a draw. I got a bit feeling. This game gave me a bit of the feeling I got before the cup game last season at Kadikøy. I had no expectations, no hope before that game where we won 2-1. But we played great, man. From the first minute, we played so great against Fenerbahce away. I said this earlier in the video, but then it was Mourinho who was coach. I'm not saying Tedesco is the best coach in the world, but he's better than what Mourinho was in Fenerbahce. I still can't believe how he played week after week with, for example, Fred, who was so finished, man. Laid on the ground all the time, couldn't stand on his feet, yet Mourinho let him play every game and so on. You know, those things that everybody can see, Tedesco are seeing them as well, which, for example, Mourinho couldn't see. So it's like small details there, and, you know, the Bashkan change and the role to Meritakan. You know, they try to fix things, surely but slow, things that they needed to change anyway. But they are not unbeatable. Fenerbahce is a team that we can win against. Because, you know, when they played against Besiktas away, they were 2-0 down. Against the Rizespor away, they were 2-0 down. In the Europe League game, yes, yesterday, they had rotated a lot as well, so I can't talk too much about that game, but they are not a team that we should be afraid of either. We are the latest champions. We're having 9 points in the Champions League, which I think is great. We have more points in the Champions League than Fenerbahce has in the Europe League. Maybe they played one less game, or I'm not sure. Let me watch that quickly. Yeah, Fenerbahce in 5 games in the Europe League, 8 points. It's stupid to try to compare there as well, but we have 9 points against much tougher teams. So yeah, I think we can beat Monaco, but again, it depends on the players who are available. I don't think Singo is ready for that game. So, but if Lemina, Osimhen, and Yunus are ready, then and Jakobs. If Jakobs are not ready, again, it's a huge problem. Who is going to play then? Kazimcan is not registered for the Champions League. So I don't know, Tora. It's going to be so difficult with all these injuries. So unfortunately, Eren Elmal is banned as well. For me, that's incredible. I had a rant about the TFF. In my eyes, the worst Turkish Football Federation president I have seen in my life, at least. So, do you think we can beat Monaco, Toray? Yeah, they're not. But again, Champions League is a different. It's a different area, man. When we. Yeah, yeah, but it's true. But are they like weaker than Union or Frankfurt? Frankfurt is not a bad team, but how much worse are they than Frankfurt, for example? Away in the Champions League is always difficult, even against Ajax when we won. Yes, we won 3-0, but the first half it could have ended. Maybe if Ajax had scored the first goal, we would have struggled, and that was against they had 0 points. So Monaco will be very difficult. Every Champions League game away is extremely difficult. That's why I'm so sad that we didn't get at least 1 point against Union in the Champions League. We were home. We were, we had the advantage there. But again, the injuries and everything, it just came on the very wrong. It's never a right timing with the injuries, and we also need to know that but again, Toray, we need to focus on Fenerbahce, and then it's Samsun, and then it's Monaco. Much can happen before that. But for Monaco, it's a game in their perspective. They have to win. They have 6 points if they want to get top 24. So we can say, yeah, we are going to beat Monaco, and that is the team that we need to win against. It's the same for Monaco as well. For them facing us at their home ground, they are, have big expectations to win that game. Yeah, they struggle against Brugge, but again, man, it's football. We lost against Kocaelispor, but we won against Liverpool. So every game are so different. But again, Monaco will be extremely tough. But if Ilka is getting in form, if Lemina, Osimhen, Yunus Akgün are ready, I think we are going to fight there for the 3 points. Yeah, we need our players back, and yeah, I hated the injury things. And we don't have, for example, when Yunus Akgün is injured, do we have a good replacement for him? Or the same type of a replacement? The closest I get to Yunus Akgün is actually Yusuf Demir, but look how he is playing. Lemina, that's the one thing I want to. We don't have a replacement for Lemina. If Torreira is getting, Torreira is the player I love the most. But if Torreira had got injured, God forbid, no, we can't have Torreira injured. But if he had got injured, both Ilkay and Sara could have played with Lemina. But Lemina is so important. We don't have a replacement for him. Leroy Sané, yes, I don't see him as like the. I don't see him and Yunus so. It's a bit strange, that one. They are similar in some ways, but Yunus is like this small player who's dribbling 3-4 players. Leroy Sané is more like. He can also dribble, with his pace and everything, but I have not seen him create so much like a playmaker winger, if you get what I mean. I think they're different in that sense, but yeah, they're probably a bit similar, you know. But Yunus Akgün for me, it's man. I watched last season actually on Bain Sport. All of our goals last season. If you're watching that, it's like Yunus Akgün was like involved in almost every goals. If he was the last, the third last on the ball, assist, the four, open up a defense, and then Barış played it to Osimhen or something like that. Yunus Akgün was so involved last season in everything we did offensively. So he is so important, and he was so important in the derby, the Fenerbahce derby last season when we won 3-1. When he played as a left winger or left wing back or what it was, he destroyed Fenerbahce there. So I have like Yunus Akgün for me. He's an extremely important player because he's so good in the tight spaces. He is, in the tight spaces, he can come out from there, doesn't lose the possession often, keeps the ball. Because when you're playing one player up in the final third there and he can keep the ball, he will get players on him, and then it's going to be space somewhere else. If it's the right back who's getting through, if it's the striker or so on. But right now we don't have a player who is so confident with the ball in the final third there as Yunus Akgün, in my eyes. İlkay Gündoğan is not that player who is good in the tight spaces, who is quick with the ball and so on. İlkay Gündoğan is a maestro in the sense that he's a smart player, extremely smart, can play through, comes with his deep runs and so on, but it's completely different to Yunus Akgün. But Leroy Sané can also be important in this derby. I'm not sure who is going to play as left back for Fenerbahce, if it's Brown or Levent. But I think he can have an advantage there because he's in good form right now. Where do you think we need transfers? Because I think we need a player for Lemina, like a player who are directly his rotation or sub, or an even better player. I love Lemina, or a better player, like a solid defensive midfielder. That's one. I also think we need a winger. It really depends. Are you going to think as Salah as a backup, as a right back, or as a winger? Because you can say, yeah, but we have 4 wingers: Sané, Salah, Yunus, and Barış. But if you have Salah as a backup, as a right back also, and Singo is injury prone, then you suddenly only have 1 right back and 3 wingers. And that's not enough whatsoever. So it really depends on what Okan Hoca and the board is thinking. But I think the most important is a central midfielder who has those defensive calibers, who are physical, because we are struggling so much without Lemina. So that's at least the most important. You think Salah is bad at right back? Yeah, he's not a right back. I think he has done great. He has done what he's what he can do, Salah, But he's trying his best all the time, but yes, of course he's struggling when he's facing good teams as a right back, which is understandable because I'm not sure how many times he has played right back. in his career. He has played quite a lot for us, but who are the Turk Super League players who are good enough for Galatasaray right now? I'm not sure if it's someone in the league who is good enough from the Anadolu teams. We got rid of Emre Kılınç many years ago, who is probably one of the better players in the Super League, for example. But it's not probably good enough for us. I would also have loathed if it had been some Turk players who would have been good enough. I said this before the season. In my dream scenario where, you filled all the Champions League spots with the foreigners, with the Turks, I actually had Zeki Çelik as a backup right back, backup center back. He's also playing center back. And people were like, I don't remember the reaction, but I know that was an unpopular opinion. Right now, he's playing every game for Roma. He's playing on the national team. He would have been a very good player in the rotation. But I don't know, maybe he didn't want to come. Maybe he was very expensive. I don't know. But that type of player. Ozan Kabak is has been injured for like 14 or 15 months, if I'm not totally wrong. So he would have been good for the home ground. But other than that, no. But one player I would love to see actually would have been Olay from Trabzonspor, the midfielder. He's a very exciting player. Although, if I'm pronouncing it correct, Olay. Very young, looks like a player who could have fit into our identity. Good in the high pressure, quick with the ball, quick without the ball. He seems like a very cool and good player, Olay from Trabzonspor. But he will probably be expensive. I think they are expecting a lot. So I'm not sure, to be honest, who that player would have been. If you guys think of some players who would have been good enough from the Super League, or other Turk players or other players. We have been linked with Lukman as well. I'm not sure if we should go for a 28 years old winger for 40 million euros. That would have been wrong in my eyes. We need to get the age of the age average of this team lower. We need to have a younger team, and to buy let's say Lukman for 40 million euros, 28 years old, I would have been against that, to be honest. If it's 15 million euros, okay, that would, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Probably not. But again, maybe Lukman is signing for 30 million euros and are the best signing in the winter and so on. But on the paper, it doesn't look like a very smart transfer, especially in my eyes. But we have been linked with Lukman. We have been linked with Onyediko or something from, is it Club Brugge? Let me see. He's a quite young midfielder who's very physical. So, but again, to get transfers in the Onyedika, 24 years old, from Nigeria. Again, should we buy more African players? I'm not trying to say that, African players are very good, but it's the AFCON and everything. They are not going to be available. Many of our players also. I think in December. I'm not sure when that starts. So Lukman and Onyedika are both, going to the AFCON with Nigeria. Umut Nair, yeah, I like the type of player he is. Smart player, looks like a good person in the dressing room and so on. But I don't think he got the Galatasaray quality, to be honest. And if we are going for that rotation player for Osimhen, for example, we should probably go for a profile that is kind of similar to Osimhen. In my dream world, maybe, a young striker who could play striker, who can play winger, who's extremely fast, who has that potential, to be good in the future, because we are really needing to get the age of the players a bit down, because we have some old players right now. So and you're seeing in the Europe that the team's age average is just being lower and lower because the football is changing. It's more about physicality, it's more about intensity. Yeah, Shomurodov, I don't know, no, not in my eyes. He's a good player also. Umut Nair, Shomurodov is good players, but again, not Galatasaray quality and too old. I think in the Super League, Olay is a very good player. And probably Maestro, yeah. He also is a player that fits perfectly in Okan Hoja's style, with intensity, winning the ball, explosive. He's a good player. He's a very good player. His weaknesses are a bit with the ball on his feet. Yeah, but again, that's the biggest problems in our team, I think. We have two problems against the Union, for example. The players we used there did not fit Okan Hoja's identity with high pressure. But when that didn't work, we were so weak with the ball as well. We were so weak in the build-up. And that's not been our strength with Okan Hoja, under Okan Hoja. But when you don't have, the X factor with high pressure intensity, and you also are weak with the build-up, of course you will struggle a lot then to create anything. But Maestro is yes, I also forgotten him, but he's a good player, man. Where is he from? Let me see. No, it's funny that we are Angola. Okay. Yeah, but he has done well for Alanyas, but remember his dribbling against us. So he's a good player. But again, the player I've been most impressed by in the Super League against us this season are Olay from Trabzonspor. How old is he, man? He's pretty young. Let me see. Olay is... Let me see. Olay is 19 years old, so yeah, he's extremely young, to be honest. Musaba, yeah, it is some names. What do you think about Olay from Trabzonspor? Let me see. Yeah, Musaba is also great. It's some great players in the Super League. It really depends on the thing about getting players from Anadolu teams. Is also that they are struggling a lot when they're coming to the big teams. They're also expensive. The Anadolu teams likes to get much money from the teams they're competing against, but also the playing styles. let's say Alanyaspor, who likes to go lower on the field, go in a low block, doesn't have to think about build-ups and so on. They can be good in a low block, but when they are coming to a big team like Galatasaray or Fenerbahce or Besiktas, they are struggling a lot. So trying to find those profiles who can fit also in a big team, it's very, very difficult. But yeah, Samsunspor has some. Samsunspor is a great team. We will see them on Friday. In 1 week, we are facing them. So they are probably, and they are doing well in the Conference League as well. So yeah, Romulu would have been great. He was expensive though, and maybe he wanted to go to Germany, but he's a good player. So that type, we need a player like that, I think, in the next transfer window. But my point is to get players in the winter window is so difficult. Just look at 1 year ago when we got Frankowski, we got Cuesta, we got Murata as well on loan. I don't remember, maybe I've forgotten someone, but like Frankowski, Cuesta, these are the types. We were so desperate for a center back in that window, I remember. We were linked with thousands of names, but ended up with, yeah, Kutucu. There we go. So, first of all, yeah, Kutucu is, he's not good enough for Galatasaray, unfortunately. He looks like a good guy. He's a Galatasaray, but I'm also, I hope we are also good guys, I think, and loves Galatasaray, but it's not enough. His touches with the ball and, also his confidence is just so low right now. So when Okan Hoca doesn't sub him in the Champions League when we don't have a bench and we are desperate for a goal, then I think it's like, yeah, it's over for him. It's over for Yusuf Demir. But again, in the winter window, it's going to be so difficult to sign players because we know it. We wanted so many players. We ended up with Cuesta. On the last day we got Frankowski. Suddenly we tried to play like a 3-5-2 or what we were going to play, to fit in Murata and Osimhen. Was in one game and that didn't work. So in the winter they are very expensive. They are teams doesn't want to sell players in the winter either. They will demand a lot of money. To get a player like Singo in the winter would have probably costed the club 60 million euros. But in the summer, of course, the planning and everything is new, so then you can probably get it for lower. But yeah, again, we need a central midfielder. That's the one thing I really wanted the board to buy. At least if we have money for one player, it really depends on what the budget is. But if it's one player, in my eyes, it's a central midfielder who is on the level of Lemina or better. Lemina is a great player, as I said, but a similar type to Lemina. Because with Lemina, every central midfielders can play around him. But when you have Torreira and Ilka and Isara, they're struggling to play together because none of them are physical. And you need, especially in today's football, physical players. And a player like Lemina is really extremely important. Let me see if it's something new here. Yeah, I saw it now on Reddit. It seems like Victor Osimhen in training, it seems like he will reach the Fener derby. That's so important. That's the most important thing. Of course Lemina as well, but to have Osimhen, yes, he's training, guys. Yeah, that's so important. So, but again, it really depends on how fit he is when he's playing. But to just have Osimhen on the bench is incredible. It's a threat. It's making the opponents scared. So that was some good news to wrap it up with. To have Osimhen back in the training, that is so important. And that the game is on Monday. Let me see. So he trained today, tomorrow, and Sunday. So 3 days with training. Okay. Osimhen doesn't need more, hopefully. So yeah, that was some good news. Wow. I'm not sure if Lemina is training. Yunus Akgün, where is? I really thought Yunus Akgün was ready. Yeah, I hope Lemina is. If Lemina is not ready, that will be a disaster as well. Lemina is so important. As you said, Tora, he's probably. Yeah, he's extremely important. Let me see if. No, I don't know. Let me see. Yeah. Galatasaray came out with statement actually. Berkan Kutlu, Kaan Ayhan and Mario Lemina started their individual work after their treatments. Okay, I don't know what that means, if he's going to be ready or not, but let's just cross our fingers for that. Because this is going to be our 11 or whatever Okan Hoca is doing, if he's putting Barış as a right back and Gabriel Sara as a winger or whatever. We have a chance. We need to keep our heads up. Yes, we have not been in the greatest form yet, but we are leading the league. We are in a good position in the Champions League. And let's just keep our heads up. It's nothing to be dramatic about yet. So, okay, guys. I want to end this with some good news that Osimhen is back in training. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Today, also good to see you again. And yeah, guys, I need to eat as well. So it was nice to see you guys. Take care and let's wish for a good game against Fenerbahce that we win.